Good afternoon. I am Karega Rausch, NACSA's new president and CEO. Let me tell you why I'm here today. You see, I've had experiences where I have witnessed firsthand the importance of charter school authorizing and the need to do better by kids. Some of you may know that I was an authorizer at the Indianapolis Mayor's Office. I've spent a lot of time working with school districts with too many kids of color in special education and too many kids of color and kids with disabilities being removed from school via suspension and expulsion. I've also served on the leadership team at Indiana University's Equity Project, and most recently, I've led NACSA's research initiatives and worked to create a strong evidence base for quality authorizing. These experiences have left me with many questions, but this I am clear about. There are questions we need to answer together in order to evolve. Think about this. How do we truly center our work in the hopes and needs of communities, while not patronizing them as if they're not capable of doing so much more than what we've already collectively achieved? Here's another question. How do we think more broadly about what a good school is and honor different ways in which schools can demonstrate excellence, while not throwing away important methods that we use to identify and address opportunity and achievement gaps? And finally, how do we do this work in a principled fashion, never compromising our values, while not alienating people of goodwill who think differently than we do? Authorizing needs to evolve. The key to our future lies in answering these and other critical questions together. And that's why I am so glad we are here today. During the next 3 weeks, please join me in reflecting, evolving, and innovating as we gather virtually to radically imagine what the next 20 years of charter school authorizing can do for students. My ancestors radically imagined a future that didn't exist. It's not lost on me that I am the first Black CEO of this organization. And that is both an enormous opportunity and responsibility. I think about those who have come before me, like my grandfather, who became a great mechanic, but there were few other opportunities available to him as a Black man. Today, I honor the people who worked, told, and died in order for me to have this opportunity. I hope I make them proud. And so, my commitment to you as NACSA's next new leader is to ensure that when we talk about all kids, we are truly talking about all kids. One thing the past few months has laid bare between the pandemic and racial injustice is that it isn't always happening as it should. So I come before you today to unequivocally say that we must not return to the status quo. We must find new ways to educate students that meet every child's unique needs and to raise the bar for what is possible within our public education system for all students. During the next 3 weeks, I invite you to consider how our profession can innovate to uphold quality and equity. I certainly don't have all the answers, but I do know that if we're going to build an education system that truly works for all students, it must involve listening to a variety of people with different experiences and perspectives. It means pushing ourselves to think in new ways that challenge how we currently see the world. And it involves the intersectionality between education and justice. Education and justice. That is exactly why we've asked 8 Black hands to lead us into our conference. This group of freedom fighters shows up to fight for the students and families who have waited too long for justice that has been delayed and denied. Now, before 8 Black Hands takes us forward, a few housekeeping items. First, please spend some time with our conference platform, Crowd Compass. It's a great way to virtually network with colleagues through a chat function. You can also set up meetings with other attendees, bookmark your schedule, and learn about our conference sponsors. All session materials will be available after the live sessions in our online learning system, Authorize. Finally, today's opening session looks a little different than a traditional Zoom meeting. It's a Zoom webinar, a format that we will use in some other sessions as well. The big difference is that you can only see the faces of the speakers, not the faces of the participants. Now, there is a Q&A option at the bottom of your screen, and we encourage you to use that when you want to ask the panelists a question. So, I warmly welcome you, the nearly 950 participants and growing in this first ever virtual NACSA Leadership Conference, in a year of first evers for all of us. And now it is my distinct honor to welcome 8 Black Hands to our 2020 conference. NACSA National Advisory Board member